You are Locked On Braves POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Braves POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. Grant McAuley, Jake Mastroianni with you after a very good night for the Braves as they return home after sweeping a doubleheader in Detroit and hand the Colorado Rockies an 8-3 loss in the first of a four-game series as the Braves continue their winning ways at Truist Park, just kind of building on the momentum I think they found on the most recent homestand as well. Lots of stuff to get into in this one, including a great performance from AJ Smith-Shawver, an excellent performance from the Braves offense, and some stellar relief in the form of Michael Tonkin closing things out. And we'll dive into all of that here on this edition of the Postcast. Before that, though, got to remind you, subscribe to Locked On Sports Atlanta right here on YouTube. Go ahead and click the bell to get notified every time we drop a new episode. And make sure you click that like button as well. We appreciate that. And if you enjoy the show, be sure to tell a friend and make sure to subscribe to Locked On Braves wherever you get your podcast. So, Jake, that's our checklist for each and every show that we do. Checklist for the Braves is good starting pitching, good offense, and good bullpen work. And they were able to check all three of those boxes in an 8-3 win over Colorado.
And I'd add good defense to that as well,
Yes.
Especially Austin Riley over there at third place made
Yeah.
a couple of really good plays. So, yeah, everything you wanted to see from a Braves team to kick off this four-game series against a team that you should beat. So, certainly got things off on the right foot.
Yeah, when you're supposed to beat them and you do beat them, that feels pretty good. The Braves have had a little bit of the, I think, up and down kind of results against a couple of teams that they very much on paper feel like they should be able to beat more times than not. But you don't have to worry about that narrative tonight because the Braves didn't have to step in that particular bucket on this evening. So let's jump into the line score and the box score for this game. 69th of the year for Atlanta. Braves improved to 43-26, 8 runs, 11 hits, no errors, and 4 men left on base. Rockies now 29-42, 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors, and 6 men left aboard. AJ Smith-Shawver, congratulations to him. Second career start, first career big league victory. He's 1-0. Kyle Freeland takes a loss, drops to 4-8, and Michael Tonkin closed it out. We'll talk about that performance a little bit later as well. First save of the season and a great outing for him, most definitely. But let's start with AJ Smith-Shawver. 5 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, a walk, 6 strikeouts, couple of home runs allowed, both solo shots. Think you can live with those. 99 pitches and 64 strikes. I really liked how on the attack he was. I feel like there was a confidence that is built in now his third appearance in the major leagues. And I really felt like AJ Smith-Shawver just continues to show you why he is getting this opportunity at 20 years old.
You can see it. I mean, the talent there is obvious, and I think this was a very encouraging start. We talked about wanting to see him take another step forward. I think he definitely did that in this outing. I'd say especially, too, after the second inning. I thought he really was kind of fighting with the command early on in this one, and then I thought he did a much better job of controlling or commanding, rather, that fastball on the edges after that second inning. Still, you can tell he's a 20-year-old that doesn't quite have the feel for his off-speed pitches, breaking or spiking some in the dirt, leaving some up high. I mean, that's just – he's a 20-year-old. He doesn't have a lot of innings under his belt, but still you can see the stuff there is really good. 17 swings and misses. Rockies were very aggressive against him, 55 swings against him on the 99 pitches that he threw. So Rockies were really aggressive in this one, but still was able to get 6 strikeouts, get out of some big spots there. Should have probably had another strikeout that led to, a taxed 5th inning there. But I think the biggest thing for me in this outing, Grant, is the fact that Snickers sent him back out there for that 6th inning. He did have the call that didn't go his way against Doyle that led to his only walk of the night, has a little adversity in that 5th inning, pitch count up there, sends him back out. Most pitches he's ever thrown as a professional. I thought that was huge for the development of AJ Smith-Shawver.
Yeah, and it's important to look at that. I know a lot of people ask, why did he get pulled with 2 outs in the 6th inning? Base is clear. Brian Snitker talking after the game said, maybe I should have given him that one more hitter, but I just didn't want him to get into a situation where anything just went sideways on him. He was at 99 pitches. That is a career high for his professional career, as you pointed out. So not just this season, any season for a kid that's really only been on the mound for his 3rd year pitching, 3rd full year on the mound. So this is quite a story in and of itself, but 35 pitches he expended in that 5th inning. And I'm with you. I think coming back out for the 6th, helping the Braves get through that. And then, of course, Michael Tonkin came in after that. We'll get to him in a moment, but a lot of things to like about AJ Smith-Shawver, and it's easier to allow him these opportunities to come back out in the 6th inning when the Braves offense does what it did on this night, including a 5-run second inning, but continuing to throw another run on here and there. So even when the Rockies were able to scratch across a run against AJ Smith-Shawver, hit a couple of solo home runs, you never really felt like the start was teetering in any way, shape, or form. The 5th inning was adversity, but I feel like he passed that test, to your point. And those are things that you just love to see as the opportunity to grow and get that experience and build confidence for what you hope will be many, many, many more starts in this young man's career.
Yeah, again, you don't know how many more starts he'll have this year, what his ultimate role will be on this team, but you do hope going forward in the future, in future years, I think this guy is going to be a big part of this rotation for him to be able to have moments like that. And then even, if he does get relegated back to some sort of bullpen role there, when Fried and Wright and come back, I think that plays huge to know that he can get out of those situations. So I just thought that was huge. And you're dead on with the offense, when you can put up a bunch of runs and you can allow Snitker to give him the opportunity to work through those. If this were a tight game, a 1-run ball game, I don't think he does that there. So that's a great point as well. The fact the offense was able to give him that leash and allow AJ Smith-Shawver to work through that and continue to progress, because this guy is still learning. He is still progressing and getting better.
Well, the reason why he was, again, able to, I think, do some of the things he did tonight was pitching with a lead. I think that builds a little bit of confidence as well. But overall, I just really liked what I saw from him, and that was one key to the Braves' victory. The offense was, of course, another big key to the victory. Rockies jumped out on front with the Elias Diaz solo home run that came in the top of the second off AJ Smith-Shawver, but then Atlanta answered with 5 runs in the bottom half of the second inning, a 2-run double from Kevin Pillar, a 3-run double from Ozzie Albies. Those 2 hits right there. I mean, the Braves didn't have to do it with the long ball tonight. They got hits with runners on base, and that, of course, is something you'd like to see from the Braves offense. And sometimes there's just not as many of those hits to go around as you would like, but a couple in one inning and a big-time crooked number. Ezequiel Tovar with a solo home run in the 4th inning. Braves then answer with a run on a Ronald Acuna Jr. sacrifice fly in the bottom half there. Tovar, a ground ball single in the 5th inning, plated another run, and the Doyle walk was a big reason for that. And then in the bottom of the 5th, Marcell Ozuna with a sacrifice fly that takes that run right back. And then Matt Olson, his 19th home run of the year, came in the bottom of the 7th. Not sure it's landed yet. Let's talk a little bit about Matt Olson. Then I want to get to one of our great sponsors here on the show. But this was a shuffled lineup. We saw Ozzie Albies go 3 for 4 as the Braves' second-place hitter. Great move, I think, against a left-handed pitcher like Kyle Freeland, who really took the brunt of the Braves' offense on this night. And then moving Matt Olson down a little bit in the order to maybe allow him to decompress, I think, and just not maybe feel some of the pressure that might just be built into batting second, as he's been trying to really battle and grind his way through what has been an extended slump in some metrics. In others, he's still drawing his walks, he's still hitting his home runs, he's still getting himself on base, but the hits have been a little bit harder to come by for a number 2 hitter, I think, than a lot of people would like to see, and Matt Olson is probably included in that.
Yeah, definitely. And, it was a little shuffling of the lineup. Makes sense against a lefty starter. I would imagine it goes back to normal against a righty starter, but certainly makes sense in this case. And Olson ends up getting 2 hits tonight, but he also helps manufacture a run. He moved a runner over the ground ball to second base that set up another one of those add-on runs. So he had a great game as well, hitting down in that 5th spot. And then Ozzie, we know what he does against left-handed starters, had that bases clearing double. So good stuff from him, as always, we come to expect now against lefties. But, good on Snit, mixing things up a little bit, putting guys in the right spot, and they came through.
Yeah, and Snit said it was something he was kind of thinking about, and he did talk to Matt Olson about it, and maybe they'll kind of roll it out tomorrow or a little bit more in the future and see how it all plays out. But, the Braves have, despite, no club is going perfectly in every single spot in the lineup and every single spot in rotation and bullpen and so on and so forth. There are a lot of highs and lows throughout the course of a baseball season. You try to keep the 26 men going in the same way, but you can't, of course, guarantee the performance from night to night. But for, better or worse, I guess, with this lineup, Atlanta has managed to put up a 43-26 record, in large part, I think, because they do have a good offense. It's been able to help this pitching staff out at times, particularly with a lot of the injuries and inconsistency that Atlanta's had to weather in the first 69 games of the season. Matt Olson has made some contributions to that. I'm sure that home run felt pretty good for him, and he's a run producer. So whether he's hitting second, third, fourth, fifth, wherever it is, somewhere in the middle of that order, Matt Olson can make an impact on a game. And it was good to see him with a multi-hit contest. Kevin Pillar, 2 for 4, the double, couple of runs knocked in. Orlando Arcia walked twice and also scored 2 runs. Ronald Acuna Jr., 0 for 2, but he knocked in the run on the sacrifice fly, walked and scored a run as well. so his presence was certainly felt in this game. We're going to get to one of the big performances of this contest, and it was not in the lineup. It wasn't even AJ Smith-Shawver. It was what Michael Tonkin was doing out of the Braves bullpen. But before we do that, I want to tell you all about our sponsor, Bird Dogs, who are, of course, a sponsor of this episode of the Braves Postcast, because Bird Dogs are the most comfortable, functional, and versatile shorts you're ever going to find. They feel great. They fit great. You try them out for yourself. You'll find out for yourself. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB. Enter the promo code LockedOnMLB, and they will throw in a free custom Bird Dogs Yeti-style tumbler with every order. That's promo code LockedOnMLB over at birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB. So pretty easy to remember all of that. Hope you will check that out. Now, for the Braves, coming off of a doubleheader in which the bullpen was very taxed, in which Jesse Chavez was injured on the line drive. He is on the 15-day injured list. We'll touch on that in a little bit. But Michael Tonkin's performance today, the biggest of the season for him, I think, no doubt, and exactly what the Braves needed. 3 1/3 innings of one hit, shutout ball, one walk, and a career-high 6 strikeouts to pick up his first save of the season. Jake, that was a save in so many different ways, not just by definition.
It certainly was. And look, the Braves have done everything they can to keep this guy around on the roster. They've, played with the IL a little bit, done whatever they've had to keep Michael Tonkin on here. And he's been really good in these type of spots, eating up some innings, kind of being that Swiss Army knife or whatever the Braves need. But I mean, just great. I mean, not only did he eat up the innings, there was no stress involved. Maybe a little bit there when he first came in, but after that, I mean, he just completely shut everything down. So really love what he was able to give the Braves. Like you said, I mean, you only have to use 2 pitchers to get through this game on a night where a 20-year-old rookie starts for you. That is so huge. It goes back to your point earlier about the offense. When they put up, an 8 spot, that certainly makes these decisions a little bit easier, but still with the way Tonkin was pitching, you really didn't even have to worry too much about it. You felt pretty comfortable with him going the rest of the way.
Yeah, and he really wasn't overly taxed either. So no big pitch innings allowed him to continue on and give the Braves 3 1/3 frames. And I mentioned, Snit said earlier, maybe I should have given AJ Smith-Shawver one more batter, but 3 innings out of Michael Tonkin, 3 1/3 innings out of him was a big reason why the Braves were able to close out this game and not reach back into that bullpen where Kirby Yates was available, but Brian Snitker also mentioned 4 guys were down in the bullpen. That means they want to stay away from those guys. They just weren't going to be available, so they needed to figure out a way to work this problem. So big tip of the cap to AJ Smith-Shawver for pitching into the 6th inning, and for Michael Tonkin for just taking matters into his own hands and closing the whole thing out. Again, on the Braves offense and some of the big things that they did in this game, the 5-run 2nd inning, I went back and looked for Ozzie Albies with those 3 runs knocked in, Jake. He's got 47 on the season. That has him tied for 2nd in the National League, just 2 off the league's leader, which is Pete Alonso, who, of course, is on the injured list. So if Ozzie keeps this up, this tear that he's been on over the past, 3 or 4 weeks, he might be leading the National League in runs batted in. And when we talk about all the ways, both quantifiable on the field and some of the intangible things that Ozzie Albies brings to this club, of course, being a run producer and a guy that can do a lot of big things for Atlanta when he's healthy, Ozzie Albies has been living up to that big time this year as he's back and healthy and playing every day at second base.
And I think the defense has been getting better as well. I think you've seen strides there, but we know what he can do offensively, and it's so great to have his bat back. And that's why I kind of like him down in that 4th, 5th, 6th spot in the lineup, because he is just a run producer. Again, I love the idea to put him there against lefties, and he's just been swinging a good bat lately, but the guy just drives in runs, and he has that big power. I mean, I think wherever you're going to hit him, and especially if Michael Harris and Ronald Acuna are going to keep getting on base with the 9 and 1 spots, and he still has plenty of opportunities there in the 2-hole to drive in runs as he did on this night. But yeah, he's been tremendous for the Braves all year long. You just think about that big hole, that void that you had without him last year, as great of a job as Arcia and Grissom did stepping up in his absence. You just can't replace a talent like Ozzie Albies, and you're starting to see it right now offensively with what he's able to do.
Yeah, he just gives you some little reminders, some subtle, some not so subtle, because he comes up with some big hits and big moments for this club and has throughout the course of his young career. One other thing that we did want to discuss, of course, mentioned this earlier, Jesse Chavez to the 15-day injured list. Braves just felt like he was going to be down for quite a few days. Snit said that if he had come in and been able to kind of walk around and move, was a little bit more mobile, and they felt like, hey, in 3 days, Jesse would be able to get back on a mound, they wouldn't have made this move. But when Jesse came in, bullet dodged, because he was able to check out with no breaks, no fractures, and just a shin contusion is what they're calling it. It's nothing I'd want to go through, I'll tell you that, because he was in a ton of pain and he actually had one of those little scooters that you typically see for guys who have like Achilles injuries where they want to keep that leg completely immobilized. That was parked in his locker at Truist Park today as well. And of course, the Braves bullpen was nice enough to make a Jesse Chavez stand-in to make sure he was with them in spirit with his jersey out in the bullpen. We saw a little bit of that on the television broadcast. But Jake, all jokes aside, what Jesse Chavez has brought to this club and brought to this bullpen all year long, that's going to be somebody they miss for the next couple of weeks. But they are so glad that it's not going to be longer than a stint on the injured list right here for a couple of weeks.
Could have been so much worse. You're glad that it's not. And obviously, as we mentioned, you knew the Braves needed some arms in the bullpen. As you said, maybe you could have dealt with it for 3 or 4 days if they didn't just have a doubleheader and had to tax the bullpen. But, go ahead and put him on the IL. Probably not a good idea to give him a rest. He's not a spring chicken anymore. It probably takes him a little bit longer to recover nowadays, but hopefully he is going to be back and be the Jesse Chavez who he has been in, at least in a Braves uniform, which is one of the best relievers in all of baseball. I have to smile every time I say it because it's so hard to believe, but that's truly what he's been. So he's obviously become a huge part of this bullpen. Hopefully he does heal up quickly and can be back whenever these 15 days are up.
Yeah, every baseball season gives us a whole bunch of storylines, and Jesse Chavez, elite reliever, is just one of the fun ones for the Braves in 2023, just kind of building on what he has brought to this club over the past handful of years that he has been involved with a lot of winning for this Atlanta Braves team. Let's talk about game number 2 of the series. It happens on Friday. It'll be left-hander Jared Schuster, 3-2 against the righty Dinelson Lamet. He is 1-3 on the year. For Schuster, it's just been, much like we saw with AJ Smith-Shawver on this night. He's gone out and covered the innings for the Braves. He's helped set up the bullpen for success. And, this is just a completely different pitcher than we saw in the first couple of starts of the year. It seems like he gets more confident every time out. He's attacking lineups. He has not had to worry about the same kind of control problems he did, of course, in his debut and the next start against the San Diego Padres. Just looking for Jared Schuster to go out there, attack this lineup, and do more of the same, I think.
Certainly, yeah. Like you said, he's been really good since coming back up. 2 things you really worry about for me with Schuster are the walks and then getting through that order a third time. It's really seemed like that's gotten him the last couple of starts. That third time through, batters seem to be getting him a lot better, as it happens against most pitchers. But I think especially with him, you've really seen him struggle that third time through. So being cautious of that now that you do have a rested bullpen ready to go, and hopefully this offense can continue to score as well as they have over these last 3 games.
Yeah, you'll take all the runs you can get, as the Rockies, of course, have been known to put up a few crooked numbers, but not quite the same team on the road as they are at Coors Field. Well, that'll wrap things up here on the Braves Postcast, as the Braves will get set for game number 2 of this series, and we'll have more coverage for this whole series throughout the course of the weekend, of course, as the Braves and Rockies will meet at 7:20 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, and we'll be back with you throughout the course of the weekend. We appreciate you riding along with us. As always, make sure you subscribe to Locked On Sports Atlanta wherever you get your podcasts. You can subscribe to Locked On Braves as well. Those are the 2 places that you need to be locked in, if you follow what I'm saying. Make sure you hit that like button as well, and tell a friend if you like the show. We appreciate that. It helps the show grow as well. Once again, the Braves with an 8-3 win over the Colorado Rockies in game 1 of a 4-game set. They'll be back at it on Friday night at Truist Park at 7:20. For Jake Mastroianni, I'm Grant McAuley. We will catch you soon. And until next time, so long, everyone.